YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A-N-LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes, it's just my personal opinion. You shouldn't take it as fact. You shouldn't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. All right. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to say welcome. Come on in. Join the congregation by tapping that like button. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And if you are, look, fam, no harm, no foul. You can always unsubscribe later. And if you are an existing supporter of the channel, fam, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. Let's get this episode rolling. All right, so look, fam, so we are doing a review, fam, of the S&P 2.0 metal. If you guys saw it, I did the unboxing some weeks back, and I told you guys once I got a chance to get out to the range, get a significant amount of rounds through the gun, I will come back and give you the full review. So here we are. Now, if you guys are long-time watchers of the channel, you know, generally speaking, when I do my reviews, I try to cover all the bases. I try to talk about kind of the specs of the gun, the fit and finish, reliability, you know, what it feels like to shoot, kind of all the high points, right? But I thought to myself recently, like, I should develop a review system so that you can compare this gun to other guns, right? And so I spent a little bit of time putting this together. I'm going to use it on all my reviews going forward. And I think I possibly will go back and re-review other guns that I've already reviewed so I can put them in this system. So if you guys want to know, you know, my opinion about where a gun stands, then you guys have kind of a blueprint that you can kind of follow. So that's what we're going to do now. Now, we're breaking this down into 10 categories total. Each category will be worth a certain amount of points, either 15, 10, or 5, and total together, it will equal 100. Now, look, I'm going to say in advance, fam, I'm a hard grader. So don't think if a gun gets like 50 that it's a bad gun. Okay, to me, 50 is midway, it's average, and a lot of guns are average out there, right? And so if you have a 50 or kind of greater gun, you should feel like you got a solid, good firearm, right? For me to give something that's a 90 plus, you're talking about the elite of the elite of the elite. Okay? So look, don't get your feelings hurt if, you know, your gun, the gun that you love, is not a 99.999. All right? Those are going to be few and far between. All right, look, let's get into it. Let me run you through my rating system. So the 10 different points are as follows. Number 1, fit and finish, right? How well constructed is this gun? How tight are the tolerances? You know, does this gun feel custom? You know, to get in that category is worth 15 points. Now, to get a 15 in that category, that gun has to be spectacularly made. All right. Number 2, reliability. How reliable is the firearm? If I click it, does it go bang? In 1,000 rounds, do I have any malfunctions that are the result of the guns? Now, sometimes you'll get a malfunction because of the ammo that you're using. I'm not going to ding the gun on that, but I will say this, that if the gun is ammo intolerant, you know, you're going to get a lesser score there than you would if I can put steel through it and it runs fine, right? Durability, right? How durable is the firearm? Can it handle being banged around a bit and tossed around a bit, and it doesn't take a licking and keep on ticking, basically. So for durability, maximum points you can receive is 15 points. All right. Number 4, the trigger. Look, fam, look. Your boy is a trigger snob. If I can think of one thing that affects the experience of a firearm more than anything else, it's the trigger. And so I am a trigger snob. If something has a long, gritty take up, it's gonna not score well. If it doesn't have a clean, definable wall, it's not gonna score well. If it doesn't have a short tactile reset, is gonna be affected. So yeah, how the trigger is, to me, is hugely important, and so trigger is worth 15 points here as well. All right, next up, accuracy. How accurate is the firearm? Is it possible to get 1-inch groupings, 2-inch groupings out of this firearm? Can I put shots on target from 25, 50, 75, 100 yards away consistently? All of that comes into accuracy, and the maximum you can get for accuracy is 10 points. All right. Next up, ergonomics. How good does the gun feel in your hand, right? Does it fit like a glove, or is it awkward? Is it problematic? Are you getting slide bite because of the construction of the gun? How good does the gun feel, right? So ergonomics will be worth 10 points in our system. Next up, maintenance and upkeep. How much of a pain is it to break down the gun, clean it, etc., put it back together? Is it easy breezy, or is it a hassle? That one will be worth 5 points. All right. Next, aftermarket support. If the gun isn't all of that, right, but there's a ton of aftermarket support out there, and you can upgrade the gun's components to make it be a much better gun, then I'm going to give some credit for that. So that's 5 points for that. Next up is affordability. Affordability will also count for 5 points. Now, for you guys will be like, oh, affordability should be higher. Affordability does not help you shoot a gun. It has nothing to do with the gun's performance. And this is a performance-driven rating system, right? I am not going to give all this extra credit because this gun is significantly cheaper than that gun. I'll give that some thought. But yeah, if the gun is, like really, really inexpensive, that's great. I'm going to give some credit for that, but no more than 5 points for affordability. And last but not least, flex. What? Like, if you got this gun, or your friend's going to go bonkers. If you drop this on the gram, is everybody going to go crazy? I don't think that should be. That also has nothing to do with performance. And so I'm not going to give it a ton of, credit for that. But I do think it does have a little bit of something. When you have something and you have a lot of pride in it and whatever, because a lot of people want it, whatever the case may be, I am going to give you a little credit for flex. So 5 points for flex. So when you add that all up, it's a 100-point system. All right. Now let's get into this bad boy right here. The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 metal. Now this is part of a long series of M&Ps. Obviously you've got the Shield series. There was the M&P 1.0, 2.0, and now you have the metal. There is also a new competition version. This is a metal frame gun. I will put the specs up there so you can check those out. Let's talk about it, y'all. All right, fam, let's get into it. And I'm going to throw up some B-roll of the gun so that you guys can check it out while we kind of run through all of the points and the details of the M&P 2.0. Here we go. All right, fit and finish. Look, fam, there's no denying that this is an attractive firearm, right? Fit and finish is well done. You know, I don't have a lot of complaints about it at all. I think M&P did a really good job relative to what this gun is. So for fit and finish, I'm going to give this gun a 9 out of possible 15 points. Next up, reliability. All right. The gun proved to be very reliable. In 1,000 rounds, I really didn't have any issues, no failures to feed, no stovepipes. I had one issue, but it was more, I think, the magazine than it was the gun itself. So I'm going to give it some grace there. So in terms of reliability, I found it to be a very reliable firearm. I'm going to give it a 13 out of a possible 15. All right, next up, durability. I found the gun to be very durable. You know, I tossed it around a little bit, beat up on it a little bit. The finish seemed to maintain itself pretty well. Tried to run it through its paces, you know, dropped it in some sand, dropped it in water, still had no issues with its shooting. And again, afterwards, no real significant issues with the finish. So I'm going to give durability a 10 out of 15 points. All right, next up, trigger. So look, fam, look. M&Ps historically have not had good triggers. And so if you guys look at my old M&P 2.0, the polymer pistol, you guys know that I traded out that pistol for that trigger for an Apex trigger. And I've told you guys many, many times, there's something about an M&P and an Apex. They go together like peanut butter and jelly. They are fire together. But M&P has tried to step up their game and put a better trigger into this firearm. And I'll give them credit in the sense that the trigger looks a lot better than that historical curved trigger used to look. It gets some downgraded points because it's a plastic trigger. I don't necessarily like that. Let's do it this way. If you look at it, you'll see it's got some creep there, right? A little crunchy. It does have a definable wall though. Crisp, clean break. Relatively short reset. Okay, so look, fam, I think the trigger is a huge upgrade from what it was historically, but still, given the fact that it is a plastic trigger, given the fact that it still has kind of a long take up, the trigger only gets 7 out of a possible 15 points. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next up, ergonomics. Look, fam. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. It is very hard to find a gun that feels better in the hands than the M&P 2.0. I don't know, there is something about this firearm that, man, it allows you to get a really good purchase on it. It feels very ergonomic and comfortable, even when you're shooting a lot of rounds downrange. You know, it doesn't cause you to fatigue early like some guns do. So this gun right here earns high marks when it comes to ergonomics. So I'm going to give it 9 out of a possible 10 points. Okay, so next up is accuracy. I got to say, fam, relative to accuracy, I found this gun to be pretty accurate. From like 5 yards to 7.5 yards, I was putting together 2-inch, 3-inch groups pretty consistently. When I backed that up to 10 and 15 yards, I was like 4 or 5-inch groups. I was still hitting relatively consistently from like 25 to 50 yards. When I got further out though, 75 yards, 100 yards, it's not that I couldn't put rounds on steel. It's just the consistency of it was not as consistent as I would like it. So in the accuracy department, out of a possible 10 points, this gun gets a 7. All right, next up, maintenance and upkeep. Look, M&Ps are very easy to take down, very easy to clean, very easy to put back together. Been around for a long time, and it got that kind of down to a science. So for maintenance and upkeep, the M&P the M&P 2.0 metal gets a full 5 out of 5 points. Aftermarket support. So here's a good thing about the 2.0. It's been around a long time. So there have been ample opportunities for third-party providers to get out there and provide support. And although this is a newer version, a lot of the components and the makeup are the same. And so from that perspective, we're going to reward the M&P because there's a lot of support out there with a 4 out of 5 possible points. All right, fam. Next up is affordability. So the M&P 2.0 metal MSRPs for $8.99. Now sometimes you can find it for around $800 or so, just depending on the sales and whatnot. To me, and and affordability is relative. So this is one of them categories where I'll fully admit, I may have a different outlook than somebody else. But I say if you've got a sub $1,000 gun, a sub $900 gun, a gun you can get in the $800 range, that's pretty affordable to me for a quality firearm. So I am going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the affordability scale. All right, next up, fam, a big deal for me, maybe not as much as for others, the flex. When people see you with this bad boy, are they gonna be like, wow? What is the wow factor? Now, of course, I've outfitted it with that MP5, and we throw on that Streamlight TLR 88AG. So, we have some nice looking furniture on it, and like I said, it's an attractive gun, a desirable gun. I think a lot of people are going to want to use it for their everyday carry and all that. So flex points, there is some flex there, but it's certainly not what I would call a high-end firearm or anything like that. So flex points, we get 2 out of 5 flex points for the M&P 2.0 metal. All right, fam. So in conclusion, that gives us a total of 70 out of a possible 100 points for the M&P 2.0 metal. For our purposes, a gun that is rated from 70 to 79 is considered a good firearm. Typically, these firearms are have solid fit and finish, have good value, shoot relatively accurately, are very reliable. And so if you've got a gun that falls into that 70 to 79 range, don't think of it in school like it's a C, because on this scale, a 50 is kind of what I would consider a C, right? It's middle of the road, right? This gun is far better than middle of the road. So if you have an M&P 2.0, you should be proud. It comes in at a 70 out of a possible 100 points on the 2A-N-LA gun review scale. All right? Okay, fam, look, that's it for this episode. As always, take care of one another. Until next time, peace. Yo, fam, we are here at the range testing out the Smith Wesson M&P 2.0 metal. Let's see what it's got going for it.